Hi, it's Lori from Coast to Coast Craft Girls, coming to you from the West Coast. I showed this card on one of my videos where I was just kind of doing a really short video just explaining how I made it, and a couple of different people, I should say, 2 or 3, I can't remember, asked if I would actually do a demo and make this card. So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to use the same stamp and the same size and the same dies and the same sentiment and everything, but I'm going to use some different color inks. But I will tell you while I'm inking which colors I used on this one at the time that I'm making it. So otherwise it'll be the same. So let me show you how it's made. So I'm going to start. This card is 4 by 6 1/4 because the finished card was 4 1/4 by 6 1/2. I'll put my cardstock here, kind of in the middle. And I used the Sweet Lilies from Altenew. It's the outline stamp set. So I got this flower on there, those leaves, that flower, just about like that, I think. So I stamped the bottom part with a waterproof ink. This is a Finesse by Spectrum Noir. It's just a black waterproof ink. I think I might have used brown on that one, but and then I used the stencils that come with it. And for the stencils, if you open up, so this is the packaging from the outline stamp set. But when you open it up, you can see the stencil information. So you can see which stencil does what. And I always find that super helpful. So I try to leave that open next to me while I'm stenciling, just because it does help so you can figure out which stencils do what. And so on this one, my first stencil, so this piece of the stencil is for the flower that was up here, so it's off the thing, but I do need that little piece right there. And so this flower right there is it's this way, is that one right there. So I'm gonna do that one in yellow. And I used lemon yellow and honey drizzle as my yellows. So I'm going to start with the lemon yellow. Now we go to the second part of the stencil, and I think that's also that top flower. And now on this one, you start to get into the bigger petals. So this flower I did in yellow. So again, it's fresh lemon. We're going to start with the fresh lemon. And this flower also was in yellow. So we're going to do those in fresh lemon. And then I'm going to come back in with honey drizzle, which is the darker shade of yellow. And I'm going to concentrate some of that honey drizzle at the base of the petals and on the center of the flower. So you can kind of see some shading starting to occur. And this petal I'm going to go ahead and do because it's in the darker, because it's kind of underneath. So okay, set this to one side. And then for this flower, on this card I used purples. So let me find them. On this one I used hydrangea and ultraviolet. So I used those 2 purples in the same way that on this one I'm going to use coral red, use crimson and velvet. So for this card, everywhere I used crimson, I used hydrangea, and where I used velvet, I used ultraviolet. So I'm going to start with my crimson, the lighter color. I'm going to take velvet, but on the purple one it would be ultraviolet, and I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to deepen right at the base of the petals. I'm done with the first stencil. Set that one to the side, and we'll go on to the second. I think these are leaves. Okay, so these are leaves, and then those center stamens. So I'm going to use the same color for the leaves that I used on the purple card. And I used fresh leaf and reindeer moss. And I did essentially the same thing that I did with the petals with the leaves. So I started with the lighter, which is the fresh leaf. And then for that, the center stamens, I used fire brick on the purple. I'm not sure this is going to be dark enough. Yeah, it's not going to be dark enough. So I used fire brick for the stamens on here. On that purple it showed up. But actually I take that back. I used Snapdragon is what I used. So on the stamens right here, on the purple I used Snapdragon, which is that gold. That's not going to show up on there. So what I'm going to use instead is I'm going to use the reindeer moss, which is that dark green. And if that doesn't show up, then I'll use mountain pine. So on the reindeer moss, I just start and I add the darker color kind of right around the base of the leaves and anywhere where it would be underneath something, because then you want to think about where the shadows would be hitting it. So where it's underneath a flower or a petal, the light wouldn't be hitting it as much, and so you're going to get darker tones. So you just look at the stamp and you can kind of see which ones are underneath where. And you just want to kind of add some different color. Now I'm going to come in here with the, I think that's going to work. Yeah. Because on top of that red, it's just going to kind of turn those stamens almost black, which is fine because I just want them to show up. And then my last stencil. Carefully peel this up. Now let me bring my other card back in here. So see, it looks almost the same, just different colors. So this is the purple and this is the red. But my stamp positioning is almost identical. Not quite. This one's a little more that way. but that's okay. So now I'm going to take my plates and I'm going to die cut the center up. And to do that, I used a rectangular nesting die. These particular ones are just the Recollections brand from Michaels. And this particular die is 3 inches by, so it's 3 inches by 1 3/4. So 3 inches by 1 3/4. And you're just going to put it right in the middle. And you want to get it as close to the middle and as straight as possible. So the way that I do that, I mean, you can put it on your glass mat and tape it down, but this is a magnetic mat. So the way that I do it is I measure like this, and so that's 1 1/4 from there, and it's only 1 inch from there. So I'm going to slide it that way, and now it's 1 and just over 1/8. 1 and still going to go that way just a bit. Perfect. And then just measure it top and bottom to make sure it's the same. Then you know it's straight. And do the same thing the other direction. That's the easiest way that I have found to get it straight. Run it through your cutting machine. Now on this one I used the die that was one larger than that to cut the purple layer. For this one, since I'm using black, and I cut a matte layer and then I just cut the center out of it with my paper trimmer, and this is almost exactly the right size, so I'm just going to glue that on and then cut it with my paper trimmer, and then as opposed to using the die. Now I'm going to take my card base, and I've got my little black matte layer. That's going to go on the back, and so I'm using black instead of purple. Then this is going to go on there, and I just put those two on flat. Now I am going to cut my happy birthday sentiment out of what's left of that black, and then I cut it out of a gold mirror card. So instead of the yellow gold cardstock, I used a gold mirror, but I'm going to cut the shadow layer out of the black. This happy birthday die is from Crafter's Companion. It's one of their sentiment dies that I've had forever, but I really like it. I like the font in it, and I like the size of it. So now I'm going to raise this up on foam, and then make sure you get it the right way up. And then, sorry if my head's in the way, but you got to get it lined up exactly so that the petals line up. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to layer our mirror card on top of the black with just a little bit of a shadow layer. So the way that you do that is just put a little bit of glue on the back of this one. You just lay that on top with just, and pull it either to one side, down, kind of, I pull it down and to the right usually when I do my shadow layers, but whatever you like to do. And you just want a little tiny bit, and that gives you that hint of a shadow. And then I'm going to put more glue on the back of the black. Yeah, we're going to put that right on there, just like that, and we're done. So there's my two cards, one in purple with yellow with a yellow sentiment, and one in red with yellow with a gold mirror card sentiment, and a black shadow layer instead of purple. And to those of you that requested it, I hope that answered all your questions. Make sure and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.